One more take because my phone lagged.
Serious question. How much gasoline would it take to set that tree on fire?
All right, fun joke real quick. I have two jokes that I could probably use in my stand-up routine. One is the cheesier one, so you do the intro with it because we're not on ice. You know, you can put anything on ice, but if someone asks you to put that on ice, they're probably making fun of you because they don't like what you're saying and they want you to be on standby. For my next joke, I'd like to reference what I didn't know. This is when calls are hard to make and it's because you can't find bandwidth. All right, so I thought it was funny that there was a person I couldn't talk to. They were across the street next to a dam, and dams absorb sound, so it would be hard to hear me yelling across the street. So I'm thinking that damn Alexander Bell, I mean Doppler, because Doppler shifts are what you use to make sound. The sound actually is acoustic. It's an energy wave that propagates. A different energy wave that propagates was made by not Alexander Bell, that was the president, but it was something Bell. I think it was Grant or something. No, it was Alexander Bell. I keep confusing him with Alexander Grant. That's a joke. No, but Alexander Bell, he created the telephone, so you can blame him if anything's hard to call. But at any point in time, I just wonder if Doppler, creating the Doppler shifts, if they're alive during the same time that Alexander Bell was, and they got mad at each other because the bandwidth sucked. For my next joke, that was 3 jokes. All right, we're good. There are certain places like in Chicago, and I know people who've lived there, 2 of them, and they look trashed AF. And when this happens, it's because you've found a place that you think that you belong in because you've noticed stuff that you've never thought of that was there before. And if this is ever a case, then you're more than willing to live there for basically ever. And so there's nothing you can say that can make you like move out, and that's when it's kind of dangerous because you pigeonholed yourself. And you've never pigeonholed yourself if you don't choose to live inside of a city. Because if you do, then you're crazy and probably think of something that I just got done mentioning. But I can't hold it against you if it's something that isn't especially great. What if you're thinking that something great is lesser than the standards of the FDA? I would have to ask you to check twice because they don't really regulate what medicine is. Medicine is like a practice, and it's definitely not worth dying for. Oh shit! I'm gonna document some shit because I got Dave smacking a video that I thought I'd make a movie out of. I'm saying is that in 17 minutes I can come up with any material and get at least 3 laughs because the first time I did stand up, I've done it twice. That's what I did, and so in the next time I got more than 3 laughs, and so I know for a fact that in 17 minutes I can think of material equal to what vlogging is, and I know how to get people to laugh at least 3 times. That is huge.
You know how to get people to laugh? Is
Above ground, sleeping in a hammock. Where would you go? And what? Why? What? 1 second. Learning how to be opened when you're being approached is huge. As an adult, especially if you're in a one-way. No, but guys, this isn't a joke. It's in the last 2 days. I made a vlog earlier talking about how the sidewalk turns into a passage for vehicles and the entrance and exits of parking lots. And it's night and day how big a car is compared to yourself. So when you're in a car and you're in a one-way, it's a definite path that you have to take. And so if you're being approached by, and you can see a car coming from a mile away, they're so big that it's indefinite that a car is going to come your direction if it's in a specific trajectory with you on the side of the road. And you can read stuff on the side of the road really quickly because you know what a road is. If you don't, there's inevitable possibilities, stutter, Freudian slip, that a car will hit you if you're not wise on the sidewalks. because entrances to parking lots are definitely vulnerable for cars to pop out and not see you. But how to be appropriate when being approached isn't a thing to slander. It's very cheesy because you know it's inevitable when a car is coming. But in order to have like being comfortable with yourself when being approached or something that's inevitable, it is one of mindfulness, and it's easy to gauge it if you don't know what mindfulness is. Being dunceful. I say the word dunce. Side note, I saw this picture. It polarizes stuff when there's ends on either side. So there's like this moving picture inside this window. Looks like a body, right? That body, even though it's not real, it's a flat screen, but it was in between these two parts on the window. It polarizes it, makes it seem as though if it is real, and I couldn't tell, so I had to check. I note this is because there's people who have walked into a room and I didn't notice that an object was sitting right in front of me, right under my nose, until that person walked in and I then saw the object that was right under my nose. This has happened 3 times during the last 3 days, and one of the times was 2 people sitting just right beside me. I didn't see them until I got up and left. So with this being said, is that things that, how do you act when stuff is approaching you? Being comfortable with yourself, that's a question in itself, and the more I'm getting comfortable within my own skin, I'm going to be able to answer that. But for the time being, it's only applicable if you're asking it with trueness, because this comedy is true, because if it's not funny, then it doesn't make sense, so it's not that funny. As a comedy that's actually funny because it makes sense. So the truthfulness in the event that I haven't noticed things, and I know what is funny is like if you can gauge stuff, because Newtonian opposites attract. So the stuff that, how do I act when being approached with something that's inevitable, me being comfortable with myself, is only as funny if it's in the context of how many things am I not noticing is right in front of me. The best hiding place is in plain view. But when it's right under your nose, how many things are actually right under my nose? There's a gardener snake the size of a cobra right behind me, and I was walking with a little kid, and a kid closer to the ground notices stuff, so it started crying and freaking out. I walked on the same sidewalk and never seen a snake. The one time I walk on the sidewalk with this kid, because I was with their parent, they see a cobra-sized gardener snake, and it hopped up its chest, the snake did, and acted like it was a cobra. So how many things are in plain view and hiding spots that I haven't seen? Double that with how do I act appropriately when things are inevitably going to pass in front from a car in the road? Okay, so I don't know if this is funny and appropriate. Probably both at the same time. Let's look at this cop real quick. He's trying to catch someone off guard for job security so he can get money to write up a report. In any case, there's this one cop who said I was stalking him because, well, I stopped on a curb and talked to him. But the fact of the matter, he said I was stalking his family is beyond my belief. In any case, I saw him today and he wrote a note on the side. Every time I see him around town. It's not anything, but it's really awkward because he said I was cussing and yelling, and I don't. Outside, use your outside voice. But no, this whole thing is, I just got done talking about this kid that I was with because his parent was with me. And his parent has kids. When you're an adult, it happens. And so this kid with me saw a snake. In any case, these kids that were behind me started following me, and I'm like, get to the opposite side of the road on the sidewalk. And I'm just saying, because I talk to myself more than I talk to normal people. I have zero guidance or advice because some advice I give is bad. And so they go right up, these kids right up to this one house where I had stood in front of, and they were making this house that I stood in front of. I had to do a car wash for a church. These kids were at the church. It's right outside the corner. And so this corner of outside the house where I did this car wash, these people have flags that they hang up, and it's an LGBT flag and it's a rainbow flag. And so in any case, this flag is different than like tie-dye, but it's the same coloration. Tie-dye and rainbow both have a full spectrum, but they mean two different things. So like a tie-dye flag means LGBT. And I'm not saying this to be hip, it's just what they've actually proclaimed. And the things that you can proclaim with it not being illegal is perpetual motion, for one. When distilling things, again, is one and the same, but it's illegal. So a color flag, if it's striped, is LGBT. Tie-dye, and this thing that they're doing is a color blast where they blow up color. So by default, this color, if it's blown up inside this chalk state that gets airborne, it's tie-dye. So the fact of the matter that there's like this color blast sign in front of this guy's house who puts up LGBT flag signs, or flags rather, it's a different event, despite them being a coloration of multicolors, which is spectrum. And look, we've got one cop next to another cop. They didn't line up their ordinance proper. See, whenever you see a cop going past another cop, they're supposed to stay in their zones away from each other. So they fucked up on signaling. They're wasting gas driving by each other. Point blank, period. Because there's no crime in front of each other. So when they're driving in front of each other, they could be performing a power play. We're sure there's multiple ways to perform a power play, but if you can understand a power play is if you can know a line and capitalize off of it. The lines can be like above and below, or they usually cross. But above and below can cross at the end, and it can be a power play. So these power plays are real important to note because they take stuff that are physical and draw it up on a drawing board. Is called the power play. That's mental. And stuff that crosses over like this is like the politics of Lord of the Rings. Was Sauron bad for being OP? He stuck out his hand with the ring on it, and the guy chopped it off, and that's how the ring got loose. Why would you grab a guy on the ground with the one ring that rules the world? He was being OP during a battle. So the politics of this was Sauron. Was he bad? There's wars happening all the time. There's people in wars equal to what Sauron is, and how Frodo got stuck with it ruined his entire life. The intros I vlog every fucking day.
You gotta put it
Excuse
in
my
your
French.
own words and just say it.
I'll edit
You
out
can
my F word.
explain it because
He doesn't want to repeat it. We have our dialogue missing. It's okay because I can write. Anyways, if you light up a tree, it's incredibly bad in public. And if I saw you, I'd be like, stop. But in any case, that's my intro because I vlog. If you put a hammock up there and you're talking about what trees would light on fire, A, you're probably schizo because that's a good question. You don't want trees getting lit on fire. No one does. But if you're a ball